Okay, someone asked me how I make my pinecone suet things for the birds. They attract so many different birds. Woodpeckers, catbirds, orioles, pine siskins, chickadees, cardinals, you name it. They all seem to love it. Okay, what you're going to need is 2 packages of the C&S Woodpecker Treat Suet Cakes. You're going to need a bunch of mealworms, and you grind those up just with your hands. You're going to need some sunflower meaties, some Teddy all-natural peanut butter. It doesn't matter, unsalted. Doesn't matter if it's smooth or crunchy. And you're going to need a couple of pine cones, or a few pine cones. And I wrap them with wire so I can tie them to branches out in the trees. And then you'll need a big mixing bowl with a spoon to stir it all up with. Okay, very first thing is I put 2 of the woodpecker suet cakes into the mixing bowl and put them in the microwave for about 15 seconds, just so they're soft enough to smash up. I'll do that and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody's microwave's a little bit different, so yours might take 15, it might take 30, who knows, but you just want it so it's soft enough to smash up but not liquid. As you can see it here. Okay, once I do that, then I take some mealworms. I never really measure anything, so I'm just guessing. Probably about a cup and a half of mealworms, and smash them up and dump them in. If it's too moist in the end, just add more mealworms. If it's not moist enough, just add more peanut butter. Then you add your sunflower meaties. Stir that up. And add a little bit more a little bit more mealworms. This time of year, most of the birds need high protein from making their trip from down south and for preparing for raising young and whatever. So mealworms, so many birds love them and need them. Okay, you can add about a half a cup of peanut butter right now. I don't really measure, but just about that. So I'm going to shut this off and get the peanut butter. Okay, when you store your peanut butter, store it upside down right on the top. That way the oil doesn't sink to the bottom or go to the top and all your peanut butter sinks to the bottom and gets all dried out. So anyway, I've added some peanut butter. I'm going to mix that up. Mix it real good. And like I said, if it feels a little too moist, just add some more mealworms. If it is a little too dry, just add a little bit more peanut butter. And mine seems to be a little moist. So here comes some more mealworms. You want it pasty, not real liquid, it makes it a good consistency to push it into the pine cones. And I think I'm getting there right now. Might want to add a little bit more mealworms. So give me 1 second, and I'm going to get my pine cones ready, and we'll start filling the pine cones. Okay, I've got everything mixed up now. I have my pine cones, and I put down some newspaper because this gets quite messy. And you're going to want several paper towels all ripped up and ready to go because you get messy. So wear a t-shirt you don't care about and get prepared to get messy. But this is the best way I've found to do it. So we grab our pine cone and you dig in with your hands and you just start pushing it down as far into the pine cone as you possibly can, and then just keep adding more and more till that section's full. Hope you can hear my birds in the background. They're all very happy this morning. We've got I'll show you right now. We got some wild turkeys out there. We got a bunch of, oh, we got an oriole up there eating a suet pine cone now. I don't know if you can see it. And some little pine siskins and goldfinch and cardinal, blue jays. Everybody's happy. So, back to making our pine cones. You don't want white pine cones. They're not hard enough. They fall apart way too fast. And I reuse my pine cones until they totally fall apart. I got these pine cones down in Virginia. If you know of anybody who lives down south and you can get the big, like this, the big hard pine cones, they got little pokey things on them here, so you want to be careful when you're putting the suet in because they'll poke you. But they're very hard and they hold up to all the pecking and all that because they really do get worked over. So I'm gonna continue filling this, and once it's filled, I'll get back with you on how I roll it in the bird seed, because once they're filled, I coat them in regular bird seed, and then I put them in the freezer. So I'm going to finish doing this, and when I get to the point where I have to coat them, I'll get back with you. Okay, I've got all my pine cones coated now, and like I said, make sure you get it all real deep inside, otherwise they'll have them emptied out before you know it and you'll be remaking them. I also like to keep about 5 or 6 of them in the freezer at all times because they go through them pretty quick outside, and you want to have ones to replace the ones that empty out. And when they empty out, I bring them in the house and I reuse them. Sometimes if it's been really cloudy and rainy, they'll close up again, and I just hang them in a window in the sun and with a pointy point facing towards the ceiling, and they'll reopen, and then it makes it easier to fill them again. So anyway, now that they're full, I want to coat them in the bird seed. And what I do is first I dig a little hole as best I can in the bird seed. I'll put a link to the kind of bird seed we use in the comment section. And I also, if you notice, I add mealworms to the bird seed. Like I said, a lot of the birds like the mealworms, so I just mix them right in with the regular seed. So now that I've got the hole, I cover it up with bird seed and I push down kind of hard. Then I turn it, cover it up, and I push hard. I do that 2 or 3 times just to make sure it's really coated well. and I find the wire, wherever it is, pull it out, give it a little shake, and I get the next one. And I coat them all the same way, and then I put them in the freezer overnight. And when I get ready to put them out, I'll make another video of how I attach them to the branches. Okay, when you have extra left over, what I do is I just take it and put it in a little Tupperware container. Oh well, probably aging myself there, folks. You young people probably don't even know what Tupperware is. Put it in a plastic container with a lid and leave it on the counter. Do not put this in the freezer because you can reuse it to fill the next pine cones you make. And you will be filling pine cones because they go through them quite quick. Okay, I will put another video up when I put these in the tree. Okay, these are the old pine cones that have been out here and they've eaten all the stuff out of them. So I have to take those down. Find out how I did it, how I started it. There it is. As you can see, they've really worked this pine cone over. It's starting to fall apart. I'm going to have to replace it soon. I got to get more pine cones. And here's another one of the brand new ones that I just filled. That's what they look like when they're filled. Find a Y in the branch. This is hawthorn branch. I put it out here because I cut a branch off and put it out here because I take and I put grapes on the thorns. I've cut the tips of the thorns off so they don't poke their eyes. But I put grapes on the tips of the thorns, and lots of birds love them. Cardinals, the orioles, the catbirds. But anyway, I find a Y in the branch. I wrap this around the branch once or twice, and then I wrap it back around itself a few times. Try to make it so the wire doesn't end up being in their way when they're eating. And do they see anything on this one? And so many birds love these things. You got to wrap it good and tight because they pull on it quite a bit, especially the woodpeckers. This tree, sun's in your eyes. Let me change directions. This tree I made out of soda bottles, the flowers, so that it would look kind of like an apple tree. I don't know if you can see the flowers with the sun in your face, but I'm going to put another pine cone up here. And I have a flying squirrel that comes out at night. I think he's been stealing my pine cones, so like I said, you want to make sure you wrap them good and tight. Wrap it around itself several times. When you put the wire on the cone, leave plenty of wire, because the tighter you make it, the less likely it is that someone's going to come steal your pine cone off the tree. And that's how I put them out.